Nobody would have thought that I would be the one. Rhyner, sports talk. Baseball, 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 baseball.
Oh, with the big mic. Oh, okay. All right, yeah. Okay, now I get it.
We had a lightning strike, boys. What happened over there, Grego? We had a little lightning strike right outside the window.
All right. Here's a tip for all these Americano League teams.
Wait, you said tip.
Yeah, tip.
Okay.
With a P.
Keep jamming.
The ticket, colon, nothing but a big Gen X jerk-off set. This is a cool night or what? Although somebody would hear that and go, bullshit.
I'm back, bitches.
Hello to you and yours and whatever you may have that falls under the heading of yours, whoever you may have that falls under the heading of yours, be that man, woman, animal, whatever. We're saying hello to you because it's another episode of Your Dark Companion coming your way. This is episode 197.
Wow.
Right here on the 18th of, is that the 18th?
Yeah, you nailed it.
All right. Man, I'm off to a great start.
Hell yeah, you are, Shoopy.
This might be the best one ever,
Oh,
Shoopy.
we know it's going to be.
Yeah, we do know
who
it's
the
gonna
guest
be.
is. It's guaranteed.
That's right, because today we have one of our favorites. We have her in here from time to time because unlike a lot of people who do what she does and applies their craft at a news daily such as the Dallas Morning News, which happens to be where she plies hers, she is on a beat that changes very, very rapidly, as opposed to many of them that they change, but they're a little bit more laissez-faire about it all. On her beat, you must be prepared to move very quickly to either the right or the left just to keep up with it.
You can't be any geek off the streets.
Can't be any geek off the streets. She is with us for the, I believe, the 7th time. Did we determine that?
7?
Yeah.
Yes.
Look at that, you guys.
Right?
Yeah, she's kind of our only really recurring guest.
It's basically
And the
her and Jesse Huila, but she still doubles his output.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the reason for that is because, number one, everybody is interested in what she does at the Dallas Morning News. And number two, as I said, it changes very rapidly. So in the natural course of events, so that we may keep up with it, make sure that you keep up with it, we have to have her in here from time to tell us just what's going on. She is the great Sarah Blaskovich.
Yay.
Her beat is the
everybody.
food/restaurant beat.
Yep.
Did I get all that right?
Yeah, I eat for a living. And then I write words about it.
And you know what? You're damn good at it.
Well, thank you.
Probably both, but definitely
you. I'm surely a
definitely
good
the
eater.
words.
Thank you. I do think it's the best job in the building.
Have we ever talked about how you wound up on that beat?
You know, yeah, it's an interesting story. I did not ever plan to be a food writer. I wanted to be a breaking news reporter, and I wanted to cover City Hall and school board. And I did that for a couple of years, and then I stumbled into an arts and entertainment job for a company that some of your listeners may remember. It was called Pegasus News, and it was an online-only sort of indie arts and entertainment website. And we covered food and music and movies and festivals. And I was 23 years old and I was hired to be an editor there. And I kind of thought it was just a stop along the path because I was veering away from being like a government reporter, which is what I really thought I wanted to do. And I'd worked for the Associated Press in college. So I was just I was a breaking news reporter. And I found you could apply all those same techniques of covering something fast and first and best to restaurant reporting because restaurants are such a sport here in Dallas-Fort Worth. And so I edited some food stories and I edited some other kinds of stories. And then the Dallas Morning News bought Pegasus News, and the Dallas Morning News is always the newspaper I wanted to work for. I'm born and raised in Dallas. My parents read it at the dining room table for my entire life. And so, like, before I could read, I was looking at the comics section. You know, it's one of those, like, quite romantic stories about the Dallas Morning News was in my family orbit my entire life. Now, food was not. My parents were not particularly great cooks, and we weren't excited about dinner most days. We didn't eat in restaurants that much growing up in Plano. They were just expensive, and I don't know. It was just kind of restaurants were special occasion things.
Yeah.
And so it's odd and interesting, perhaps, that, you know, throughout that whole journey, right, always wanted to work for the Dallas Morning News, but covering something like school board or city hall, that I ended up coming in through the back door because the Dallas Morning News bought the entire company that I worked for. And then once they put me somewhere, they were like, well, what do we do with you? And I said, well, for the past couple of years, you know, I've done arts and entertainment, but I can do anything, right? I can do breaking news. And they said, well, you know, we have people doing that. And I was like, well, okay, you know. So I started writing food stories, some food stories that kind of nobody else wanted to pick up.
Yeah.
And then it turned into more food stories and bigger food stories, and, you know, talking not only to small business owners, but to the biggest chefs in town. And it really, I think I still employ a breaking news technique to the food beat. So, you know, anybody who thinks that covering food is just like a whole bunch of fun lunches has it quite wrong. You know, it's extremely fast paced. It's, you know, some days 3 different news stories a day covering something that's opened or closed or trending.
Yeah.
And
how long did you do it before you realized that this is kind of my jam here? This is kind of what I'd like to do.
Yeah, great question. So I've been at the Dallas Morning News going on, it'll be 14 years this summer. So it totally turned from this stop along the path into a much bigger thing. And never during those 14 years did I transition out of the food and features area of the newspaper. So that's also kind of interesting, right? I think after a couple of years, I realized that I loved it. And it is, as I've said on this podcast before, it's very easy to love food people. So the chefs and the maitre d's and the restaurant owners, in general, these are people who love to serve. They love to cook. They love to host. And those are people that are easy to be around.
Yeah.
And so as I had the pleasure of telling their stories, their successes and their failures for 14 years, I also really learned to love this industry that I really didn't know anything about. I've never been to culinary school. I'm not a chef myself. I didn't grow up going to restaurants. So these people sort of trusted me, a relative newcomer in their world, you know, to do the journalism part of the food journalism. And so I would say that 3 years in, I really learned that I was loving it. And then I also was an editor over food and some other things at the Dallas Morning News for a couple of years. And in 2019, I became a full-time reporter without an editor job. So I made the unpopular shift as a woman then in my 30s out of management for the Dallas Morning News and into a singular role as a full-time reporter with no direct reports. And that was my decision. I had a 2-year-old at home, and I loved restaurant reporting so much. And I didn't have time to be a great editor and a great reporter all at once.
Yeah.
And I am a competitive person who pays a lot of attention to the numbers. And I could prove with spreadsheets, and I have many, that my food stories were they were useful to the Dallas Morning News's bottom line. That people by the millions every year were reading these news stories.
Did you ever actually have to go into a meeting and do that?
I did do that. Yes. Yes. I said out loud a couple of times, I think I want to be a full-time reporter and leave behind these editing roles, at least for now. And a bunch of people said, you shouldn't do that. And then a couple times more, I said, I do think, you know, that as a woman in this field, this highly unpopular opinion, I hear you, and it's right for me, you know, with little kids at home, to focus my attention on this job. And so what I had to do was turn to those numbers to prove it. So yeah, I printed out all this stuff, and in front of several people who have very important jobs above mine, I said, I can prove to you that if you let me do this full time, that these numbers you see in front of me will at least double. Right? Because I won't go from managing 12 other people and writing restaurant stories when I can, but I will go into doing this full time. And I've been doing it since 2019 like that. And I just love it. I love the idea that I get to write and create all day long, and that I eat the eating. I can't shy away from the idea that that's just really wonderful too. But who knows if I'll ever want to do something bigger at the Dallas Morning News. I've said I think it is a wonderful place that I always wanted to be. But for now, being a full-time reporter is enough for me.
Well, you're great at it.
Thank you.
And I'm sure that everybody involved, everybody in your orbit, all the people that you cover and all the people that you work for just adore you.
Well, thank you. Thank you. The numbers keep going up, so we can prove that it's still good. Thanks. I appreciate that.
Well, what we like to do is get you in here from time to time and pick your brain a little bit about what's going on out there in the world of food units.
Of course.
And where one may procure them and what they may procure and what they may find when this procuring process is done. What?
You want me to open this gift?
Yeah, you got a gift there.
Do you want me to open this gift before you ask me a question?
I've not been included in this conversation. I don't know what's going on here.
Well,
what's going on, Shoopy?
Well, Sarah's a 7-time guest now, and we decided to commemorate that occasion with a special wearable gift.
A wearable gift.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're going to give you a Mickey Mantle baseball jersey with number 7 on the back.
Can you imagine? I'm like, oh my God, you guys don't know anything about baseball. Sitting in front of me, for anybody not looking at our lovely faces on the internet, is a Christmas package. It says Merry Christmas, and it is wrapped in 2 different gorgeous bows.
Yeah, we are a little late.
Mike, did you wrap this?
If you were going to hazard a guess as to whether or not I wrapped that, what would you guess?
It feels like no. Yeah, it feels like, whoa, I need to learn how to do this bow.
You don't know how it feels like no.
Yeah, I know you're good at a lot of things,
it feels like a hard no.
Yeah.
Mike, but I don't think you wrapped this gift.
It's pretty safe to say it's a Becca production.
Becca, thank you. I would come without gifts. In fact, journalists in general are not supposed to accept gifts, but you guys are now my friends.
Yeah, we are.
Okay, the suspense is building. Wait, is it a jacket?
Damn right.
Oh my gosh. All right, I have been saying for approximately the last 6 times that perhaps I need a jacket like they do at SNL.
Yeah, the
because I
Five
just
Timers
keep
Club.
showing up here. Yes. And it says Sarah Blaskovich, YDC. Yes. Your Dark Companion. Oh gosh, guys. Thank you.
So yeah, we wanted to get you something that's actually wearable, that's not like, those crazy looking like leather jackets with all the stuff on them, and
something that I would actually put on
like
as opposed to
if
wear
you
as
were
a
to go out
costume.
for a jog.
I
or
love it.
something like
Thank
that.
you. It is my very own zipped jacket with my name on it and your company name.
How the hell can I get one of those?
You need to do more shows.
Apparently, you got a guest show up 7 times.
Yeah.
What number episode did you say this was?
197.
Yeah.
Well, you've been doing it a whole lot more than 7 times, Mike. I think he deserves a jacket too.
Yeah, I'm
But we
only
don't-
Thank you,
190
guys.
ahead of you.
Yeah,
Thank
we'd
you,
only have
guys.
190 episodes without Sarah.
You're so welcome. Thank you for coming on.
Well, it's my
Yeah.
pleasure to come on this much. And anybody listening, if you happen to be a good guest and come 6 more times, perhaps they'll give you a jacket too. I'm just kidding.
Maybe.
Oh, that's
If we like you.
That's great. This does feel like a SNL Hall of Fame.
Well, it
It is.
yeah, it is. It
Yeah.
kind of is. Well, let's get on to what you've been doing and where you've been going, what you've been finding once you got there, and the
Yep.
way things are these days. Now, one thing I really like about you is you ply me with stuff that you want to talk about. And you're
I always
really,
do
really
it.
good about that.
Yeah.
And that's a good thing because otherwise I would be talking about going to Griff's or somewhere like that.
We can talk about that too. But
But you tell us that Mediterranean food is kind of a trend out there.
so hot right
Really?
now, Mike. So here's the situation. Anybody listening who owns a Mediterranean restaurant or who has eaten Mediterranean food over the past, 50 years, this is not a new cuisine. And there are so many countries near the Mediterranean, and so it's also a wildly large genre. But in 2026, we are seeing an influx of new restaurants marketing themselves as Mediterranean, and many, and this is notable, many are like these kind of flashy, fancy places. So you take any cuisine and you can slap higher price tags on it, and we've seen this happen with almost every cuisine. But in Dallas, the one that's happening, the one of the moment, is Mediterranean food. And on the whole, what we're talking about here is quite a bit of seafood and healthy dishes, sometimes whole roasted fish or whole grilled fish. Lots of hummus with pita bread and Greek salads and vegetable starters, and then a fair amount of vegetable sides too. So restaurants that feel quite a bit different than the very typical Dallas steakhouse that we have been famous for better or for worse, for a very long time here in Dallas.
Eons.
And so last fall, a restaurant called Avra opened in the Crescent in Uptown Dallas. And you've been?
Oh.
Mike, you've been to Avra, a Greek restaurant.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, the Mavs did have a thing there that I went to.
There were a bunch of trees inside this 14,000 square foot
Yes,
restaurant, if that's
yes.
ringing any bells.
Oh, holy crap.
Really, like you've gone to the Mediterranean almost,
Yes,
right?
Yes.
And
It seemed the only thing that seemed more out of place than where it is me being there.
this place was pretty fancy. Like do you remember, did you have fish?
Yeah, I think I did.
It's like, you order a whole roasted fish and sometimes share it with the table, or you get a couple, salads to start or sides. It's so Avra is the biggest and flashiest example of Mediterranean food coming into Dallas. And the coming into Dallas part is important because Avra specifically has restaurants in other cities. Its extremely famous location is in Midtown Manhattan, but they have many across the country. And so Dallas is a magnet for these out-of-town restaurants that think they can get big dollars for dining here. And when Avra came in, it was the hottest thing of the moment, and it still continues to be very popular. The thing at Avra that it's most known for out of this state is it's power lunch. So business people dressed nice, they pop in, for 48 and a half minutes, they sit down, they eat 2 or 3 courses of pretty healthy food, which I think as all of us are a day older every single day, trying to eat healthy feels more important than it did yesterday. And so fashionable healthy food is really on time in Dallas, and people are really liking that. So once Avra opened last year and was quite a big deal, we are going to see more that look, feel, and sound like Avra. So we have Avra, Abba, and Alara. 3 very different but very similar Mediterranean restaurants with fairly high prices and beautiful dining rooms that come, into Dallas to sort of capture this moment of Mediterranean food.
Adu Bobby.
Oh, that's a funny one. That's good.
The hell you do it over
You
there?
were trying to suggest a new restaurant name.
Right? So do you like this kind of food, Mike?
I don't know if I've had enough of it to really know. I'm in on the fish part.
Yeah, you're a seafood guy?
Yeah, I'm definitely in on the fish part, but I'm frightened by hummus.
To be frightened by hummus, that's so darling. I love that. That's good. It's your fear of cheese, or aren't you an anti-mayo guy?
Yeah. Oh, no, he
Oh, he's anti-eggs.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm anti-eggs.
Eggs, it's the
but
other
I'm pro
dairy.
Miracle Whip.
Oh, sure. This is a complicated relationship.
Yeah.
How do you feel
Hey,
about?
I'm a complicated guy.
I know. So, do you like Miracle Whip over like Hellman's mayo?
Yeah,
Always.
Definitely.
Ooh, I want people on the internet to tell us what they think about that. That's a hot take. I strongly like mayonnaise over Miracle Whip, but I think Miracle Whip has jobs on certain sandwiches. But we could never be a house that had only that. You have to have both.
God.
Miracle Whip does contain eggs. I always, for whatever reason, thought maybe it didn't somehow.
Yeah,
but-
they do. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, they're well disguised though.
They're whipped right in there, and they try not to make themselves seen.
Yeah.
I should mention that I don't believe Miracle Whip or Hellman's are sponsors. These are simply the brands I usually go with. That's funny.
Of course, all that's understood with you. I mean,
Yeah, sure.
you're not promoting any kind of brand or anything like
I'm
that.
not, and it's just fun to explain because it's people think it's wacky. I don't eat for free ever. So that is the job,
Yes.
is that I pay my own way at every single meal, and the Dallas Morning News pays me back for some of that. But I mean, all the time I'll go out to dinner with my husband or with my kids, and if I know the chef and I don't know him or her that well, they might say, well, can I send you out something free, or don't worry, the whole tab is comped. And I'm like, oh no, I can't do that. This is just a big rule, and it is more surprising than ever these days because, the Dallas Morning News, in my opinion, has the best ethics policy of anybody in town. And it's stayed the same for decades, if not longer. The Dallas Morning News is 140 years old. But, a lot of people you see on Instagram eat for free and then get on there and say, this was the best burger I've ever had. Mm-hmm. And we just don't believe in that. So it feels like it's a dying breed of people like me who insist that we have to pay for food. There's no this for that. And so you always know that
That's
whatever
very
I talk
noble.
about, whatever we talk about and write about is quite simply what we think is newsworthy and important. And there was never some sort of other thing going on. Like we owed somebody a favor, or we just don't do that. And that's nice in a world where that stuff can get confused very easily.
Now, let's just say that I decide that I want to put aside my fear of this and try a little Mediterranean thing.
Ooh, yeah, like hummus?
In addition to, that I'm going to bite down, swallow hard, and come to terms with the hummus.
Great, good.
In addition to this place, where would I go?
So I have a great idea for you if you can be patient, because it's not open yet. But just this week, I wrote about one of these other A words, Abba, which is a Mediterranean restaurant that opens later this year. But if you're going to try hummus, this seems like the perfect place for you because they have 5 on the menu. So, and don't you love a place that instead of being like, we have good hummus, they're like, we got 5 hummuses. Like, who's doing that? Except a place who's quite proud of their hummus. And hummus is almost always made with chickpeas that are all whipped up. But you can make hummus with other stuff, including edamame or other like bean legume type things.
Right.
So as far as I know, Abba's hummus is all the same hummus base, but then you get spicy garlic in one, or you get brisket in another with some barbecue sauce.
Brisket.
I mean, would you try brisket hummus?
If I were going to, that would be, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. that could happen.
He's still fearful.
Roasted red pepper is what you want.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you think when you go to the grocery store and there are like flavors of hummus, I mean, this is sort of, restaurants do a little bit fancier job of that, but this place is trying to give you that experience where, like, if you're the pesto hummus person or if you're the roasted red pepper hummus person, you got options at Abba. And I've not been to this restaurant, but
All right, can I just say something really stupid so I can get it out of my head and get it out there?
yes.
Please do.
I'm wondering if at Abba they have the Waterloo sandwich. Boy, that
Do
just
we-
died, didn't it?
I feel like
Do we go to break now?
I
or-
feel like he was looking for a GIF or a soundbite,
Yeah.
but wasn't sure which one.
No, he was. Yeah, he was going for a joke, and then he got laid out on.
Boy, did I ever.
It was a great joke.
No, it wasn't that good. Like how Waterloo sandwich.
Yeah, you know the song,
I do.
the
but it
big
doesn't
ABBA hit,
include-
Waterloo?
Yeah.
include a sandwich.
All right, okay. All right,
For-
screw me.
For anybody at home word nerding in their head, ABBA is a 1B on the restaurant. ABA.
Oh, it is?
Just
Oh,
in
okay.
case.
Okay.
I feel like there would
Well,
be
now
like
your joke doesn't work.
Yeah, yeah.
No, but you
If-
didn't know that. But I'm just
If
saying.
I'd have known that, you'd have saved me. Thanks, Sarah.
No, but well, I'm just pointing it out if anybody's Googling it. Also, I feel as though there would be brand confusion if they both had the same name, which I think was at the core of your joke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well. All right. Let's try to recover. Tell us about Delilah.
I would love to tell you about Delilah. Delilah is one of the most expensive new restaurants in town. And maybe later we'll talk about inexpensive restaurants because I want everybody listening to know that I don't eat at places like Delilah often because I, like you, am not a millionaire. But
Speak for yourself.
yeah, sure. Speak for myself. The other millionaires in the room are
Right.
feeling embarrassed right now. I'm so sorry.
All the rest of us.
Yeah. But Delilah is a 1920s style supper club in the Dallas Design District. It took several years to open and has been hotly anticipated. The first Delilah was in LA, is in LA. And then came Las Vegas and Miami. And this is a place where you think you might see a celebrity in any of those cities. It's hard to get a reservation and you wear your finest. And in Dallas, this restaurant opened almost in the thick of the ice storm, like near the end of that week, like when school was canceled all week. It was that week that Delilah had its grand opening VIP party. And if you could see the diamonds and the fur that were worn by the Dallas women to this party, I mean, it's that kind of place. It was, and I looked through every single party pic with glee because I just wanted to see who was there and what they were doing and what they were wearing. And so Delilah has been this place that people are wondering about because it's only been open now something like 2 weeks. But it is a place that people are, I think, wanting to go for birthdays and anniversaries. Now, something interesting about Delilah is that it has 4 stages. So I wouldn't say Dallas is a town that does live music and dinner together all that well. There are a couple places where you can hear like live piano during dinner, but there's not a lot of these other, we have music venues. We have the Granada,
Right.
And we have Sundown at
Right.
the Granada next door, but there's not a lot of like imagine if the Granada was also an active, fully operating restaurant during all of those shows.
Well, you clearly haven't seen Petty Theft at Tolbert's.
There, actually, that's a pretty good example of a place that's doing, both. Some people have told me that the chili at Tolbert's is people's favorite chili.
Oh, it's
Oh,
killer.
it's
Famous,
most
right?
serious.
Yes.
They're famous for it.
Yes.
The original owner started the
Yes,
Chili
Frank
Chili
X.
Festival.
Oh,
That's
that's
right.
cool. I didn't know that. Okay, so Delilah, 3 of the stages are for what they're calling burlesque dancers. I think in my mind that burlesque dancers end up taking their clothes off. That's what I think of when I think of burlesque, or at least some of them. I might be defining that wrong. But these ladies in my one night there did not. So they would wear full gowns with headdresses, so fantastic costumes. And then as the night wore on, they would change their outfits to become shorter. Or at one point when we left, there was like a little bit of a see-through lace situation, but with like pearls and still like a lot going on. It was very showgirl in what I found to be a very tasteful way. So while you're in this beautiful dining room with maybe celebrities eating pricey food and drinking martinis, there are dancers around you, just sort of like swaying and then up on the main stage, the night I was there was an upright bass and a piano, and then like a singer who sang covers of pop songs in like sultry ways. So there was, I remember, and a little bit not pop too. She sang Rocket Man by Elton John in like the coolest way ever. And then went on to Pink Pony Club by Chappell Roan.
Nice.
And then like on to a Beyonce song. And so there is a total vibe in there. You are either feeling sexy or trying to feel sexy and watching a lot of these really fabulous people also be sexy. And that is the allure to Delilah. And unsurprisingly, that's making a lot of Dallas people want to go.
Is this a place that draws the famous and nearly so?
Yes. Yes. It is the type of place where if anyone goes, you want to get up and go to the bathroom slowly so that you can look left and right a lot. Because who knows who's going to be there?
Yeah.
They say, so they have an interesting policy. When you arrive and on the way to the bathrooms, there's just tasteful signs that say no photos, please. And because I'm a person who asks annoying questions, I was like, what does this mean? Because does it mean like, you're going to take my phone, or does it just mean like, hey, be cool about it? Or is it somewhere in the middle? And no server ever gave us the spiel, because I also wondered, when you sit down, do they say like, this is how this place works? Because we all know, maybe you're thinking of it, like you're not allowed to use a phone in a strip club, for instance, but this is not a strip club at all. This is tasteful.
Yeah.
This is a restaurant with music and a show. And so I found people not using their phones almost at all, which is a revelation at a restaurant. I saw people watching the dancers and the singers. I saw people talking to one another and dining and cheersing and not documenting what they were doing, in part because I think there could be some famous people there and you're probably not supposed to, but also because there was a climate of just being there. Like you felt a little lucky and a little less, you felt a little like you were going to leave without some money. You're going to leave a little lighter, but like, it felt like you should really just soak it in, because this isn't a place you come that much. And so when you do, shouldn't you just see it? And nobody
theory,
does
yeah.
that. Yeah. Nobody does that anymore.
No, they don't.
And it was really dark, and I did take a couple of photos of my plates of food because I eat for a living, and my photos were horrible because it's not set up for Instagram. And so I also, I didn't post any of them because I was like, these weren't any good anyway. And why did I do that? I didn't need to take that picture. It wasn't useful anyway.
Did you write the review?
I
you
did.
review it?
Yes, I did. And we, something everyone should know is that I do not take the professional photos for my food stories. This is not a talent of mine. I might be the best at taking the worst food photos in town. It's just not a strength of mine. And so I could use a class. If anybody out there knows how to teach me, that would be cool. But the Dallas Morning News thankfully has some really fabulous photographers who come, and take pictures. So I went on a Thursday night and experienced it like a regular person, but took a couple of notes here and there on my phone and did some interviews before and after. But then a photographer came in afterwards and I asked for a couple of specific dishes to be photographed. And so this photographer came in and took those photos on a different day when service was not happening. Because also, it is not the vibe there to have a Dallas Morning News photographer and his or her flash in a corner, during dinner. That's just not. So we went at 1:00 on a Thursday and got those pictures taken.
This sounds like the kind of place you would go to when you want to go somewhere, but you don't want to be seen.
Yes, I think all of the many famous people listening really need to key into this place, because you can. I know for sure that there is a expectation that people aren't bothered inside Delilah. If you are somebody, you are expected not to have fans come up and ask for pictures. It's just not that kind of place.
Yeah.
And if you're not famous, you can pretend you are.
Yeah, that's right. All right, now you have a list of exciting new restaurants of 2026, you tell us.
I do.
Several of which are already open. That means there are more to come.
Yes.
What might we find on this list, Sarah?
Yes. So I write this every year at the end of the year, and it's just kind of this forecast of if you needed one sheet on where to go, this is your list. And people have told me that they save the print copy, and kind of use it as a checklist. And as a checklist person, I love that energy. So it's still early in the year, but there's some really cool things coming soon or already open. And this morning I went to a diner called AM/FM, and it is also in the Dallas Design District. And it has a huge backyard that is a live music venue already. And it used to be a barbecue place inside called Ferris Wheelers. If we remember the name. Yeah. Yep. And in fact, in the backyard still today, there is a Ferris wheel that lights up during these concerts. Super cool backdrop. And it importantly does not operate. I think that lots of people drinking and listening to music does not lend itself to a vintage Ferris wheel, and so it's just there to look cool. But in the front, they have they have a diner that's going to serve breakfast all day and lunch all day. And the chef, the consulting chef, her name is Chef AQ, and many Dallas people know her. She was at Jose for a long time, a restaurant on Lover's Lane. And she is known for her contemporary Mexican cuisine, but she's worked all over the United States and is really a skilled chef. And a lot of the food she does is super fancy, and the food at this diner is not. And she said today, like, this was such a fun project because this is like the food I like to eat at home. And so there's avocado toast, and there's huevos rancheros, and there's chilaquiles, and there's meatloaf. But the meatloaf is stuffed with jalapeno poppers, which sounds cool to me. That just
Delicious.
sounds
Indeed.
fun. But the reason why AM/FM came together in the way that it did is because the owners are concert promoters, and they produce, I don't want to get the number wrong, over 1,000 shows a year or something. A lot of indie artists in DFW, and they've been doing this for 15 years. It's a couple. And he and her are music fanatics. They've never opened a restaurant. And so they got this chef to do the food part of the restaurant, which is very smart. But they wanted it, and the venue is already a music venue, as I mentioned, but they wanted the diner to be a place where musicians wanted to eat. And so some musicians, they explained, start their day at 3 p.m. and want breakfast. So there's breakfast all day, right? And then there's some people in the neighborhood, there's 3,000 people who live in new apartments across the street from this place. Those people want breakfast at 8 a.m. And so they have that too, and so they just want it to be, it has like this real 70s, 80s retro feel to it. Very comfortable, very affordable. And in a world where nothing feels affordable when it comes to food, I love the idea that we're opening a diner in 2026. Because I just told you about Delilah, the most, I spent many hundreds of dollars at that place, my husband and I, not, very recently. And so, you then we all like to have a balanced diet. Most of us are eating at a place like a diner a lot more than we're eating at the other place. And so I'm real excited. The food is inspired, yet, somehow not fancy. That's a delicate balance. So that's one of the new places. But I'm also really looking forward to Dallas Cowboys coach Jason Garrett is opening an Italian restaurant.
What?
Uh-huh. Yes. So if you're at Knox and Travis, at like Mr. Charles, or at what used to be a big hole in the ground but is now an auberge, very high-end hotel in construction now, right by the Katy Trail. If you're there, you go, south on Travis, like a block, and there is a retail shop called Grange Hall, and it used to have a restaurant in it that was kind of a schmancy ladies' lunch spot. And Jason Garrett and an Italian restaurateur in town named Julian Barsati have partnered together to open a place called Café Luca. And it is a Sicilian restaurant that sells food that both of them love and that they both feel connected to. And I asked the restaurateur what Jason Garrett's role is in opening a restaurant like this. And I mean, like, he didn't skip a beat. He said, well, he's the coach. And I was like, that's kind of poetic, that's nice. And I've met Jason Garrett now a couple of times because of this restaurant opening, and he's super jazzed about opening a restaurant. And, if I had a short list of famous people in this town that I thought were going to open restaurants, he wasn't necessarily on it. But
I can't imagine it.
Right? I know, but it's going to be, pretty nice. So it's going to be open lunch, dinner, and they want to offer some casual Italian specialties like having, great espresso and stuff like that. But I would consider this a sit down lunch or dinner spot. And I thought it was going to open last month. I was in there the last week, of December, and it was looking pretty ready, but they were waiting on some stuff that was to be shipped to the restaurant, like some tiles and some furniture and stuff. And I believe Café Luca is coming either late this month or in March. So those of you who like a story about, somebody famous getting into a new industry, Café Luca is just real interesting to me. And then one other spot for some geographic diversity, Tiffany Derry, who is a very well-known chef in town who's all over TV. She is a judge on MasterChef, and she is She just sort of locally beloved. She has 2 restaurants in Farmers Branch. She's opening a new restaurant in Grand Prairie, which, if you look at the map of DFW, is, kind of in the center of, Dallas and headed somewhere west. And it's a sports bar with Tiffany Derry's food. Ooh. So we love a sports bar. I love a sports bar. Well, I love a bar first and foremost, but yeah. And
I like sports bars.
Yeah.
You would like this place. I mean, she just wants to have like good food that's not complicated.
And this is where?
It's in Grand Prairie. And if those who know Grand Prairie, there's a development called the Epic. And the city owns this development, which is kind of rare, I think. And there's all sorts of stuff down there. It's like blink and you missed. There's like an indoor rock climbing place. There's a senior center. There's a whole bunch of restaurants. There's some shopping. It's just like, it's a mega development in Grand Prairie. And so her restaurant is just kind of embedded right in the middle of it. And her celebrity will certainly bring people to this bar, and rightly so.
Nice.
She does a food festival. Yes, Becca, she does a festival called Chef, spelled SHEF. She's the female chef. And and I went last year. It was the second year. It was a blast. It is a blast. I went for like a grand tasting, so kind of the big, flashy, fun night. And in addition to fantastic food, you guys, there was so much dancing. I've been to every food fest that has existed in this town. I feel like it's my job. And there's a lot of fun, usually. A lot of eating, a fair amount of drinking. Not that kind of dancing. There was so much, just like, there were so many happy people who went, like, got some samples and then, like, paused to dance and then go back to the eating. And this is my vibe. I like that so much.
I think whenever we take Shoopy to a Mediterranean restaurant, maybe we'll get him to dance after some hummus.
Yes, please.
That will be the day.
Damn right it will.
You got to get some video if that happens.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Ashley will make sure she's filming. We'll go on TikTok.
All right, this is the great Sarah Blaskovich of the Dallas Morning News with us today on YDC. We will have more with her in just a second, but right now we must stop down because it is time. It is government mandated that we stop down for the dreaded and feared mid-show read.
Don't be scared, Sarah.
What makes it feared?
Literally nothing.
I'm not feeling afraid.
You'll see.
Okay. Maybe I should be. All right.
Let me start by advising all these good people what could happen to them.
Oh, now I'm feeling scared.
Not saying it will, just saying it could. Let's see, what are we supposed to do here?
I don't know.
CBD.
Oh, yeah, CBD. That's right. If you are hurting or if you got problems, I just did it.
Done it for 35 years.
No, I always had copy in front of me before.
Fair.
Now I just wing it.
And it's even better.
Yes, it is. But yes, CBD is what you need. If you are roaming through this world in a degree of pain, if you got something that hurts and you've been trying to get rid of it, but you don't know what to do and nobody's ever been able to tell you anything. You've tried this, you've tried that, you've gone to this guy, you've gone to that guy. None of it seems to work. Have you tried CBD? Let me tell you something. Not too long ago, I fell under that heading myself. And I went to the CBD House of Healing because I'd kind of just run out of stuff. I didn't know what else to do. And I'd heard about it, so what the hell? Why not? What else can go wrong here? So I go in there, and I talk to the owner, who is also a registered nurse, by the way. This is not some wacky head shop we're sending you into, where they're going to try and sell you zigzags and incense and stuff like that. No, this is medicinal. And I talked to her, and she gave me some stuff to put on it. And I tried that, and you know what? Helped. And not by just a little bit. It helped a lot. Now, if they can do that for me, they can do it for you. And if you're one of these guys who needs a little help with this stuff, you don't know where else to go to the CBD House of Healing. Talk to them because they know what they're doing. They approach this from a purely medicinal standpoint. They're not trying to sell you anything. They're not trying to load you up with stuff you don't want. What they want to do is help you get over whatever it is that's wrong with you. The CBD House of Healing is located at Northwest Highway and Plano Road. They are in the northeast quadrant of that burgeoning intersection. Go by there. Tell them you heard about it from us here on YDC, and start your process to healing and getting well and feeling better, for crying out loud. Maybe even sleeping better. Who knows? Start it at the CBD House of Healing. Is that it?
Damn right.
That's all we got?
That's all we need.
That is all we need.
You did not need a script. That was phenomenal.
See?
Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I mean, I'm not as good as you, but I try.
That's not true.
All right, another thing. I like it when you come in here because you always give me stuff to talk about.
Good.
Yeah, I mean, you
I want to
provide us.
make people more interesting with their friends.
Yes.
Right? You can drop little bits of knowledge and pretend you found it yourself.
Well, I won't do that because Sarah Blaskovich is telling us that 2026, this year that we are in, could be a tough one for restaurants. Now, we hear all the time about this place and that place that has gone out of business.
Yeah.
And why is this? Why do you think this could be a bad year
Yeah. So
or a subpar year?
we are forecasting bigger challenges in 2026 than in 2025 for restaurants in Texas at large. And, there's so many factors that go into whether a restaurant is healthy or not. But there are a couple of big ones. Rent prices are at an all-time high. So even to get into the restaurant industry is wildly expensive, and picking where to put a restaurant means everything. So, paying extra for those really sought after neighborhoods comes with an extremely high dollar value. And then you need to know on the opposite end that you can make enough money, to pay all those notes. So I'm hearing a good amount of really smart local chefs who want to open a new restaurant who are pausing because they say, I had, 3 or 4 neighborhoods in mind and I can't afford them, or I want to be somewhere for 10 or 20 years, and I can't guarantee to myself or my investors that high dollar value for that, that lease that I can afford it.
Yeah.
And so, and one of the ways that a restaurateur can afford to pay a high dollar value for a lease is expensive food. And, nobody likes that. The chefs don't love that for the most part. The consumers certainly don't love that. So then we layer in some other problems. We've talked about inflation a lot, and I don't know the current inflation rates right now, but what I can say is that over a couple of years, everything had kind of been on the up. And you take certain ingredients to a restaurant, important ingredients like beef or like chicken or eggs, or maybe certain sauces that are imported from other countries. Maybe you only get your olive oil from Italy or from Greece, something like that. Even single ingredients like that, if they're essential to your cuisine, when those prices go up, it messes everything else up. And so some restaurants, they increase their prices because this is the only way to stay in business. But I've heard from many restaurateurs over the years who are just like, a sandwich shouldn't cost $18. I don't want to live in a world where I have to do that. And so starting in COVID and continuing through today, we've seen restaurateurs make difficult decisions, sometimes on principle, that a burger just shouldn't cost $20 or more.
Yeah.
Now, we've all eaten a burger that's $20 or more, and some of them are super incredible. But, we don't live in a world of cheap food. And I think I speak for most small business owners when I say that they don't like that either. But the margins are already really thin at restaurants. So, if they sell a burger for $15, that burger might cost them $10 or more to make. And And business people, I've talked to a lot of business people, every other industry works on bigger margins. And every other industry, even small business owners tend to carry more cash. So like when a crisis comes, when there's an ice storm and nobody eats at your restaurant for 3 days, there's cushion. They're like, it's okay. We planned for 3 days.
Right.
A lot of restaurant owners do not plan for 3 down days in January. They just were not ready for that. So whatever money was going to come in those 3 days, now they've started a brand new year and they're behind 3 weeks into it from where they thought they were going to be. And labor costs are really high. It is expensive to get great chefs and great line cooks. It's expensive to hire dishwashers. And I can't remember if we've talked about dishwashers on this podcast, Mike, but
I don't think we have.
They are some of the most important people in restaurants. And I don't think that consumers know that. You absolutely cannot run a restaurant without a dishwasher. That guy or girl does not show up. Somebody else has to do that job, or else we cannot have food today, because there won't be enough pots and pans. There won't be enough plates. There won't be enough silverware. There won't be enough cups. And it's not a glamorous job, but it is essential. And during COVID, we talked about dishwashers as being on the front lines. They were people who touched your fork and you might have had COVID. That's scary. Right? Yeah. Like you don't come close to strangers and what they put in their mouths, except if you were at a restaurant. And so since COVID, the hourly wage of dishwashers has gone up, as it probably needed to. But that's just one example of all the jobs in the room that have gone up. So restaurateurs, they're paying a lot in rent. They're paying more for their key ingredients. They're paying more for good people. And then they face, the sort of consumer fatigue where they do all those things right, let's say, and we go to our favorite restaurant that we've been to for the past 5 years. And our first thing is, why does everything cost a couple bucks more? Or you get out of there and you go like, that didn't used to be $100 for 2 of us to go to dinner there. And now that's easy to spend $100 sitting down with 2 people, especially if you get a drink or 2. So the restaurant industry is always a difficult one. And it is, like I had somebody say yesterday, this is the hardest job I have ever done. And it's all I know how to do. Right. So they keep doing it. And I'm grateful for it. There are people in this town and every town that make incredible food, and we're thankful for restaurateurs. But this is not fun stuff all the time. And 2026 has the potential to see some pretty major restaurant closures. Some we know about and some we don't. One great example, Sevy's near Preston Center, has been there for 20 some odd years, and the owner's lease is up. He could not negotiate a number he thought was fair with the landlord. And so he said at the end of 2025, he said, we're closing in June when our lease is up. Now, what that does is, this is smart. So he didn't just say tomorrow or next week we're closing. He didn't surprise his employees with you no longer have a job. He didn't surprise his customers who may or may not be able to get there.
Yeah.
He said, you got 6 months.
Yeah, he built in a little wiggle room.
Yeah, if you haven't been to Sevy's, come on back.
Yeah.
And I think he saw a really nice holiday season. I think he saw people, we should all reflect, like, what's that restaurant you love that you haven't been to in a long time? If you're looking to go to dinner someplace, if you're going to spend your money anyway, think about the places you really love. This is a good thing to do with your money, because your dinner makes a difference to that small business's bottom line every single day. And so people are going back to Sevy's for lunch or dinner thinking like, well, I went to this flashy new place that Sarah told me to go to, but I need to get back to Sevy's because I like that place, And so him giving himself a 6-month runway, in my opinion, is extremely smart for the consumer, for his employees, and for his business. I bet he sees a pretty strong business until he gets to June. And the Sevy's guy has an interesting story too. He beat cancer a long time ago. And he said, I've been on 18 years of borrowed time, is what he says, based on his cancer diagnosis that he overcame. And so he's like, I'm just happy as a clam. He said, I'm going to close this restaurant and I would love to open another Sevy's, but also I think he wakes up every day just glad to be there. And so that's a cool way to do life.
That's a great outlook.
Yeah. And so will we find a Sevy's 2.0 someplace else? I don't know. He's older. He may open one if he can find the right lease. Based on my research, that quote unquote right lease is almost impossible to find. There are a bunch of other smart people in town also looking for that same low priced, great neighborhood lease.
Yeah.
So, we might see fewer restaurants open, or at least a flattening of the openings. Dallas is known for its flashy new restaurants. We always open something new, even in COVID. And so we might see a flattening or a depression of that. And then I think, unfortunately, in 2026, your favorite places could be in jeopardy depending on their individual financial situation. So it's never been a better time to go eat at that place you like.
While you still can.
That's right. You never want to think, I should have gone there last week.
Yeah.
But I read the news story this morning that
Yeah.
said they closed yesterday.
Now, you went to a new diner this morning that you kind of like.
I know, and I that was on my most exciting list. I jumped ahead a little bit. This is AMFM, that diner that we were talking about with the backyard thing.
Oh, okay.
I added it in my most exciting new restaurants, which it was also on that list. But you can look in the Dallas Morning News. Let's see, early next week, I think, is when I'm going to have a story and photos of AMFM. I've been, but I haven't written about it yet.
Any other new places you got for us?
Let's see. I would love to talk about Night Rooster. This is a modern Chinese restaurant in. Is there a theme here? The Dallas Design District.
I was going to ask you if that's the hot new.
It is a hot new place. And as a proud East Dallas resident, I almost always talk too much about Greenville Avenue. But here we are talking almost solely about the Design District, which I realize is an Uber drive away for almost everybody. But
Now,
that
this
is
is called what? My Rooster?
Night Rooster.
Oh, Night Rooster. Oh, okay.
You can call it whatever you want.
I think that's something else.
Oh, yeah. Night Rooster is the name. It is in the bottom floor of a 2-story restaurant that this property used to be a convenience store in the Dallas Design District, which for so many years was like a warehouse district where artists and designers and like tile shop owners had warehouses. So there was a convenience store kind of in the middle of the mix. And some Las Vegas restaurateurs bought the piece of property, knocked down that building, and built a pretty sizable 2-story restaurant. In the bottom is My Rooster, Night Rooster, some call it. And in the top is a restaurant called The Saint, owned by the same people. Both worth going to. Sort of a Italian steakhouse in the top in The Saint, and like I mentioned, modern Chinese down in the bottom. But the reason why I think Night Rooster is worth special attention is because its chef is quite famous. Her name is Shirley Chung, and she has been on Top Chef and House of Knives and Tournament of Champions. If you are somebody who likes a Food Network or a Bravo show like I do, she's all over them. And she is known to be a fierce, sometimes mean competitor. She's just really serious about how she performs in the kitchen. And on Top Chef, she was on 2 seasons, and she was a finalist on both, but not a winner. So she recently was on House of Knives and won it. So, our really great chef who's wildly competitive finally won, kind of a big show. But another reason why people might know her or should know her is because she had a very public battle with tongue cancer. And the story is, it's really heart-wrenching. She went to the dentist and said, something in my mouth hurts. And then he wasn't sure what it was. And she went back again and said, my mouth is just really bothering me. And it sort of escalated into you need to go take a look with a different kind of doctor. And it was found that she had stage 4 cancer. And why a chef can ever get tongue cancer, I will never understand. It just seems so unfair because her whole life is her taste buds. And she had to make a life-changing and swift move. She sold her dumpling shop in LA. She moved to Chicago, where another quite famous chef had also battled tongue cancer with this same hospital and doctor. So she was referred to a specific doctor who agreed not to remove her tongue, because that's the other thing, is that people with this stage of tongue cancer, I think it is common that's the move. And she said, I really do not want to lose my tongue for so many obvious reasons. And so instead, she endured 6 months of extreme cancer treatment. She had she went through, I don't know how many rounds of radiation, and it was weeks and weeks of chemo. And she she said her whole mouth was black on the inside and the outside. I mean, that's what radiation will do. And she had a feeding tube that kept her alive for 2 months, and she was mostly homebound. She said parts of it she doesn't even remember. You know, there's a whole month where she was just sort of there. And through it all, she survived. And she got her taste back.
Whoa.
Which is the best part of that. You wonder if you come out of that and you can ever eat again or cook or even care about food.
Yeah.
Because I think she said for a long time, I don't know the specifics of the treatment, but she said her mouth was so sore that even after the feeding tube was gone, it was soft foods or it was foods that weren't too hot or too cold, because she was really healing. And once she healed, she said all of her taste came back, but some of her preferences changed a little bit. She doesn't like spicy food as much. And she used to like really acidic food. And to me, some of the best chefs dial up the acid a little bit more lemon juice, a little bit more vinegar. It just makes a lot of cuisines of any kind like pop. And she said too much acidity in food is jarring now to the mouth she now has, which is just for food people like super fascinating. But what she did when she recovered, which is, she's from LA, she has lived in Las Vegas for years, and then she had her cancer treatment in Chicago. Of all places, she moved to Dallas, where she had no ties, except that a colleague from Vegas was opening the Saint and Night Rooster. He wanted a modern Chinese restaurant. He'd known her for over a decade. He wanted her to be the chef, but she was sick. And so when she recovered, he asked if she would come down and open this restaurant in Dallas, of all places, and she said yes. So she is now temporarily in Dallas, opening this place that has really great dumplings, and there's also a whole or a half duck dish, which she's kind of known for. Duck is really hard to make. Hers takes 48 hours. It's smoked and brined and dried, and then her duck comes with bao buns, so little sandwiches that you then fill yourself with pieces of duck, scallions. There's like a couple of sauces. You have the option to make it spicy. And so I love food where people can interact and reach across the table and all this. So you get duck in the middle of the table and little sandwich buns, and everybody shares and passes and all that. And she wants to really be known for that duck dish. I want her to be known as a warrior, as somebody who overcame,
I should say so,
something impossible. And I'd watched her on TV. I love Top Chef, and meeting her was a real honor. I thought she was so grounded and interesting, still very feisty, still a competitor. And it was like she looked at the cancer battle like she looked at trying to win Top Chef or any of these other shows. She said, I knew I was going to beat this. I just knew it was going to hurt a lot. And so she did get through it, and she is, her dining room is full of symbols, including the wallpaper has the phoenix on it all over. And the phoenix is a symbol of, rising from the ashes.
Yes.
And she has this wonderful quote in my story that I can't recall verbatim, but something like, she said, I was burned literally in order to live. And she said, and from the ashes I rise.
Wow.
And I just got goosebumps.
That's insane.
That's the story of Shirley Chung and Night Rooster, and I hope I've convinced at least one person to go eat her food. She is an inspiration.
That's an amazing story.
Thank you. Yeah.
Did you have something, Shoopy?
Yeah, I think before we wrap things up, we got a viewer question that actually kind of ties into working out pretty well, because we have a couple visitors in the studio in town from California. Eddie Garza asks, where would you take someone to eat if they're visiting DFW for the first time? Bonus points if the meal is under $15 per person.
Ooh, that is so hard. Okay. I don't know if I'm going to get bonus points, but I'm really going to try.
We'll work inflation into it.
Okay. So there has to be Tex-Mex and there has to be barbecue, in my opinion. And then because I am a lover of burgers and we are a city full of them, I would take you for a burger. So here's my bonus points. We're going to go to Keller's for a drive-in burger, which is going to cost you about $5 or $6 a person, which is a screaming deal, I feel. If you want fries, an extra $2 or something like that. But Keller's is a fave. We've talked about Keller's before. It has been around well over 50 years and is an East Dallas staple. And we are sitting right here in East Dallas, so I'm proud of Keller's. Barbecue, man, there are so many good options. It's not going to be under $15. That's how barbecue is going these days.
Maybe a quarter pound.
I love the story of brisket, right? Which is the worst cut. And one of the reasons why we cook brisket so long is because you have to make it taste good, and it's hard to make it taste good. Well, now it's still hard to make it taste good, but it's the best thing at every barbecue restaurant, and Texas is certainly known for its brisket. If you got time, I would go over to Fort Worth and stand in line at Goldie's, a very out of the way Fort Worth restaurant, staffed by a bunch of like kids from Arlington who are now young adults and make some of the best barbecue in the state. If you're staying in Dallas, I would go to Deep Ellum and go to Terry Black's. I have been a fan of Terry Black's for so long, and here is the reason. Many great barbecue restaurants, including Cadillac Barbecue, one of my favorites, which is near the Galleria, they serve lunch. And when they run out, and you get to come back tomorrow. And I have been that person who is like, what do you mean you don't have brisket? It's my fault for showing up late, but still it's like, that's what you came for. Like, I've been the gal that walks out with like only mac and cheese, like some cornbread. I'm like, I'll take something, but you barbecue is a lunchtime sport, and you stand in line, and when it's gone, it's gone. Well, Terry Black's has managed a 24-hour operation with their cooks where they serve lunch and dinner, and it is very high level at both every day. And I cannot name very many other great craft barbecue restaurants that do it all day. So the idea that you could go have dinner barbecue in Deep Ellum is wonderful. And then anybody who's like rolling their eyes about Deep Ellum because you can't park, they have a parking lot. So I've just solved all your problems with barbecue, I think. And okay, Tex-Mex. I love so many places. I'm going to go Mariano's right now. Mariano's because Mariano's is a family-owned restaurant, and he's been in the Tex-Mex game for a really long time. The food's great. This man created the frozen margarita machine, and it is in the Smithsonian today. And so since we're talking travelers groups, I thought that we could send somebody to a historically relevant food place because of the frozen margarita machine. To that end, love a margarita from Mariano's, and they have many varieties. But I haven't met that many margaritas I don't like, so,
That's why we like you.
Thank you. Do you think I answered his question?
I believe you did.
Okay.
You
Eddie,
get all
nice
the
to hear
bonus
from
points.
you. Thank you.
Anybody else got anything for Sarah here?
She's covered my stuff.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Well, once again, you have just come in here and killed it
Thank you.
in that way that you do. Love having
Thank
you
you.
on. Great at what you do.
Thank you. Next time, I'm wearing my jacket. I'm going to show it off. If you're looking at the screen, it's on me right now. But I'm going to wear this. If you invite me back for an 8th time, it's been going well so far. But if you decide you don't want to
There
have me
will be
back,
8.
fine.
There will be 8.
Fair comes every year.
Heck yeah.
That's all right.
We will talk about the State Fair when it gets here. The State Fair concessionaires right now are preparing their dishes. They're
crazy.
thinking about it in February, which is bananas.
Well, we got a whole summer to get through before we get to the state fair, though.
Great.
And we must have you back before then.
We'll find
Yes.
other items to discuss.
Yes.
Well, I would love that. Thank you, guys. I love to talk about food, and I love your listeners. I know they care a lot about this stuff, and that just means the world to me. It is a really wonderful place to eat food.
Well, they like you because they know you care about it.
Thank you.
They know you give a damn.
Thank you.
The give a damn level is very, very high with the great Sarah Blaskovich. All right, that is it for a little YDC action for today. We thank you very much for watching and being by the channel. If you like what we're doing, what we need for you to do is get us out there, share us on your social media, and make us known to your friends. I mean, we like you, but we like your friends too. So you see how all that works. Just get us out there. Help us get out there. We'll keep doing this. Thank you very much for watching today. Thank you, Shoopy. Thank you, Becca. Thank you, Yvonne, over there at the helm today, just killing it in that way that only he can. And thanks to the great Sarah Blaskovich, I'm Mike. Bye.
Bye, y'all.
I'm gonna go take my pants off.
Your Dark Companion is a Stolen Water Media presentation.